There is only 4.6% sustainable agricultural land outside of pastoral areas in South Australia. We are the driest state in the driest continent that's inhabited in the world, and our water is very precious. I look around today, something is very wrong. 70 politicians were formally invited to our rally, and only 14 bothered to reply. It is clear that many politicians have no regard for our food and water security, keeping it clean and green for future generations. What we are now facing is ecocide, extensive damage or destruction of ecosystems by human causes. The federal government has cut funds to the Conservation Council and the Environmental Defender's Office. Both organisations help enormously. Our food and water security, tourism, as well as export markets are at risk. Who wants to holiday in a gas field or next to a mine pit? In the last 2 years, most of the lower southeast was mapped out for unconventional and shale gas exploration, with possibly thousands of wells. There are exploration licences for minerals and a proposed coal to diesel project. This year, 2 deep shale gas exploration wells were drilled near Penola through aquifers and a fault. The drill head was stuck at what appears to be the same point as where the drill hole crosses the major fault. Most drill holes eventually fail. The southeast has a variety of agricultural industries. Our stunning wines are world famous. Imagine how the graziers will feel when they have to fill out the National Vendors Declaration form if their cattle have been near contamination as a result of resource activities. The southeast does not have a clean slate as far as previous resource exploration. Bike Petroleum and BP have exploration licences in our pristine waters off of Kangaroo Island. Exploration licences exist 10 kilometres off the southeast coast. World blowouts would impact both the fishing industry and coastal agriculture. No resource company is welcome, as demonstrated by 3,000 lock the gate signs displayed around the southeast. Mr. Kutsantonis was formally asked to speak today. He rang at 5:15 last night and said, "We need to agree to disagree." Not good enough, Mr. Kutsantonis. He asks for science, which I have given him, based on geological hazards. The southeast and other areas of the state are on limestone, which is prone to subsidence and sinkholes, as well as numerous fault lines, plus the risk of seawater intrusion. All of these security areas should and must be exempt from resource activities. Various acts must be changed. Farmers virtually have no rights. This is an appalling state of affairs. How much longer do rural communities need to be put through hell, not knowing if they are going to lose their precious water or have to live daily with contaminated air, soil or dust? How much longer do they have to face the possibility of losing their farms that have been in families for generations? How many more farmers will Australia lose to suicides because they see a future with no hope? We will not back down. The government is meant for the people. There is little evidence of that. My message to the politicians and the government is, open your eyes to the destruction of the very fabric of communities that you are causing. Open your ears and listen to the people. Open your hearts and have compassion and care for the future. It is time the government put the people and the planet first and not bow down to unwanted, mostly foreign-owned, invasive mining and petroleum companies. Thank you.
But I would especially like to thank all of you who have come such a long way to bring this most important message from the country to the city. Thank you. You've come from the southeast, from York Peninsula, from Kangaroo Island, from Eyre Peninsula, from the Adelaide Hills, and people from here in the city as well. Thank you so much for coming on and taking a stand. You know that we have a fight on our hands when it comes to protecting our food bowl, to protecting sustainable industries. And as Anne said, the government just doesn't get it. What we're here today to say to the Mining Minister, there is a choice. There is a choice between destroying farmland that has been productive for 140 years and will continue to be productive for centuries to come, and a short-term 15-year mine. He reckons he's got the balance right. We say he's got it wrong. First of all, we need to fix up the Mining Act. Now, the Mining Act has this quaint notion in it of exempt land. What it says in the Mining Act is that if your land is used for growing crops, it is exempt from mining activity. But you know that the reality is very, very different, because the mining company can come knocking on your door, waving around a piece of paper called a waiver, and they can ask you to sign that waiver, to sign away your exempt land status. And if you don't agree, they will take you to court. And that's what's happening right now. Farmers from Eyre Peninsula and the Copiapo Hills in court right now, challenging the right of farmers to access their land. So we need to change the law. We need to make it fairer. We need to redress the balance between mining companies and farmers, so that farmers do have the right to lock the gate, as so many of your signs say. And on your behalf, I commit the Greens to introducing that legislation again in State Parliament. There is another piece of legislation which affects the people in the southeast. And this isn't the Mining Act, it's the other one, the Petroleum and Geothermal Energy Act, which is about drilling for oil and gas and for fracking, which, as you know, is a huge risk for a part of South Australia that is so important for growing our food, and where it is entirely reliant on groundwater resources, those very resources that are under threat if we allow the types of activities that Anne has just explained to you. So I'll be reintroducing in the State Parliament a bill which says fracking is not on in farming land. Fracking is not on in conservation land. Fracking is not on in residential land. And everywhere else in South Australia, let's do what the Liberal government in Victoria did, for goodness sake, a 2-year moratorium until they can prove to us that this is safe, and I bet they can't. So that's the commitment from the Greens.
As a landowner in South Australia, we are all responsible to make sure we take care of the land so it's here in a better state for the next generation. And our 6th generation is standing alongside me. We cannot afford to destroy prime agricultural land for short-term gain. Rex Minerals have just had approval to build a heavy metal mine on a 30 square kilometre zone just south of Ardrossan. This mine is situated 500 metres from St Vincent's Gulf. Along the coastline there are 1,000 houses of people that have just bought their bit of paradise, and now they're stuck next to a copper mine. Not to mention all the neighbouring farms, and there's some fantastic farming families around this mine who are just absolutely gutted. Rex Minerals have another 50 prospective targets on their current licence, which they will actively pursue. Over 95% of the York Peninsula is currently under exploration licence, with 2 companies announcing more copper discoveries recently. The whole of York Peninsula is under threat. Who wants to live next to a toxic copper mine? Not me. Who wants to drink contaminated water? We all have rainwater on farms. Who wants to drink contaminated water from the mine? And who wants to go fishing in the St Vincent's Gulf if there's no bloody fish? Agriculture is the backbone of this state and country. And we need agricultural land to continue. Hundreds of millions of dollars went into the state from grain production last year. And why risk this, the most reliable income source? We need policies in government that will protect agricultural land from invasive mining. Mining and farming cannot coexist, and please remember, no agricultural land, no farms, no food. Thank you.